Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Reality Spirituality Radio show. Thank you for being there. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington, and I am the world's, I'm going to say, only happiness specialist. That's right. I'm claiming it. And the reason why I'm claiming it is because I'm telling you, we all have something that we're really, really good at. Some people say it's our purpose. Some people say it's our gift that we're really, really masters at. And I don't. It doesn't matter what it is, from being a waiter to being a nail technician to being a doctor to being an athlete to being a writer, speaker, whatever it is. We all have our gifts. I met a master gardener on Thanksgiving. I didn't even know I'd never even heard of a master gardener. Master gardener. So we all have our gifts. We all have our passions. We all have something that we are good at doing. And I have to say, I am really good at discovering what adds to happiness, finding out, really going deep in years and decades and decades and decades of practice of finding out, very simple, what behaviors, what responses add to happiness, and what behaviors and responses subtract from happiness. And then I just started listing them. Not only listing, but also living and practicing. And when you start practicing the behaviors that add to happiness, and you start eliminating the behaviors that subtract from happiness, guess what? It's like putting together noodles and chicken. You're going to have chicken noodle soup. And let me define happiness for you, because I've got new listeners every week. And my definition of happiness is to be able to be at peace, to be rooted in peace, regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. This word happiness to me is the same as saying peace, internal contentment, the ability to feel balanced and relaxed and have that vibration of peace in all of life's challenges, during all of life's experiences. That's happiness. That's my definition of happiness. And happiness is a practice skill like anything else. It is a practice skill. And when you commit, like I did decades ago, little did I know it would be so hard. Little did I know that it would be such a challenge and a struggle, especially in this world. When you make the commitment that you want to feel that energy of peace, you want to be happy, you want to feel that energy of contentment, that vibration of feeling satisfied. And when I say satisfied, you know you've had moments. Raise your hand if you've had a moment in your life, maybe more than one moment, when you're just sitting down and you're observing. Maybe you're looking at a child. Maybe you're looking out into the forest. Maybe you are experiencing something and you are one with the universe. You feel that connection. You feel that moment that you are surrounded by God, universe, spirits, whatever you want to call it. And it is so intense. And it is so intense that sometimes you even break out crying. Some people call it joy. Some people call it bliss. Whatever word you want to use or label you want to put on it. I'm talking about that experience where you feel one with. You feel at peace with. That's what I'm talking about when I say happiness. And that word, some people don't like that word, but I like it. The sense of feeling okay with self, okay and balanced with life. The more you practice, it is a practice skill, the more you commit. When you make a commitment and you prioritize happiness, wanting to be happy and wanting to be at peace, the more you commit to it, the more you prioritize it, the more you practice it, the more it is going to become your identity. It is going to become who you are. You won't even have to think about it. I also want to say that I am available for weekend seminars, also talks, retreats. Contact me at rlnsignature@gmail.com, rlnsignature@gmail.com. Woo! Today's topic is one that I what do they call, recycle every year around this time. And it's going to be different than last year because I'm different than last year. One of the things about practicing and making a commitment to happiness and making a commitment to peace, it's just going to naturally happen, people. You are going to expand. You are going to grow. You are going to evolve into someone that you might not even recognize. When you expand, when you grow, when I say expand, my arms are all the way out. Sometimes that person that you evolve into, and let me tell you something, whoever you are today is going to be different tomorrow. That's just what growth is. Growth is being different. You look out into nature. I'm looking at trees right now. No tree is the same after a day. It's always growing. Things are always changing with anything, with life. And so when you make a commitment, when you make that commitment to be different than you were last week, guess what? With practice, when I say different, let me be really specific. I love this example. Years ago, I think it was late 90s, maybe it was 1998, 1999. It might have been 1998. My son and I went to New York, and we went all the way up to the rooftop on one of the World Trade Center buildings. And it was the building that had the antennas. And I remember looking down from the top of the roof of that World Trade Center. I remember looking down, and I saw planes. I actually saw small planes beneath me. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say growth. The more you grow, the bigger your perspective is. The view is not the same from downstairs in the lobby at the World Trade Center. The view is different when you're all the way up at the top. And the same thing with life. Can you imagine the view from the moon looking at the earth? So it's really about getting to a place where your perspective and your views are so large that you're no longer looking at a situation that you might have looked at it 10 years ago the same way. That's why every year the show about happiness and holidays changes. Because the more you expand, the more you grow, the bigger your perspective, the more consciousness you have. You're not going to look at the same situation. You're not going to look at the same situation in the same way. Can I get to today's topic? All right, let's do it. This time of year, we've all heard it. Oh, it's so stressful. The holidays are so stressful. And you get a lot of reports that there's a lot of depression. People get sad. People get anxious around the holidays. And let me raise my hand to just give you a quick reason why. If you listen to the show, you know my second book, the one I'm writing now, called Program for Unhappiness. The reason why people feel stressed, the reason why people feel sad, the reason why people feel depressed and all of that stuff during the holidays is because of the programming. The programming that says, and I have to say that I was all up in it. I was all just, that holiday programming. I was raised to believe that birthdays, oh my goodness, is you better acknowledge me on my birthday. Holidays, you had to do the family dinner from Christmas to Thanksgiving. Every holiday has an attached obligation to it. Every single holiday, from New Year's to New Year's Eve to Valentine's Day to 4th of July to Cinco de Mayo to I'm going to put Cinco de Mayo in there too, to Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve. All of these holidays, birthdays, all anniversaries, let me throw that in too. All of these special days have something in common. And it's not that celebration. It is what they have in common is obligation attached to the holidays. All obligations, unless you're caring for a youngster, a child, or an elderly person that needs help. I'm not talking about those kind of obligations. Someone who is elderly that needs help, or a child that needs raising. I'm talking about all of the stuff in between. These obligations for adults, these obligations that not only does your family expect, but even the community, even society, even this world. I mean, I don't know about you, but everything is closed on Thanksgiving. Think about this. I talked about it a little bit in one of my shows. I don't remember which one, but think about it. That whole programming of having to do the same thing everybody else does on the same day, does that strike you as a little odd? Does that strike you as a program? I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying oh God, Thanksgiving is horrible. Oh, it's a holiday for it's the devil's holiday. I'm not saying that. What I want you to really recognize the programming that comes with that, the obligation that comes with it. So let me ask all of you parents out there. So if your adult child said, hey, I want to go fishing on Thanksgiving. I want to go to Disneyland on Thanksgiving. I want to go to Hawaii on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be at your Thanksgiving dinner. I'm talking about adult children. I was talking to someone, and she said that Thanksgiving is her favorite holiday. And one of the things that obligates, especially mothers, especially you moms, that Thanksgiving is your favorite holiday, this obligation we put on our children and people that supposedly we say we love, that what's important to me better be important to you, and you better be at that dinner, or my feelings are going to be hurt, or I'm going to be sad, or you're going to disappoint me. I know people in their 60s that they do not miss a Thanksgiving dinner. Now you might say, "Oh, what's wrong with that?" You can't tell me. Well, you know what? Scratch that, because I don't know everything. I mean, I might sound like I know everything, but I don't. So getting back to the obligations, all obligations subtract. And if you are able, all I have is this one question. If you are able to say, you know what, Mom, you know what, Dad, I pass on Thanksgiving this year. I may catch you next year. I pass. I just want to sit home and maybe watch football. I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like getting dressed. I don't feel like taking a shower. I don't feel like going to your house for Thanksgiving. Now, if you can do that, and if you can say that, and it's going to be received with open arms, and it's going to be received with, oh, okay, no problem. Catch you next year, catch you in 5 years. If you can say that to a loved one and they're okay with it, there are no obligations or no strings attached. I'm talking about the situation. I'm talking about the circumstances where if you say, no, I don't want to show up for Thanksgiving, but you show up because you know that the other person is going to be angry or their feelings are going to be hurt or they're going to be disappointed. That's what I'm talking about, because now we're discussing obligations. And I don't care who you are or how much you claim to love your family. If you obligate any of your family members, to be at a certain place or time because it's important to you. Ooh, you know, I have a warning on this show that says put your seatbelt on. That's not love. That's all control. I might even throw in some manipulation. Ooh, well, no, it is nice to have everybody together, and it's wonderful, and it's the only time we get to see them. So what? So what? Anytime you put stipulations on your love or put stipulations on how you're going to feel, the word is guilt trip. Put a guilt trip on anybody. And you know what? Let me say this. You don't even have to say it or do it. If your family feels, oh, you know, we can't disappoint Mom, we can't disappoint Dad, we can't disappoint Sis, we can't disappoint Brother Billy, underneath all of that, you know, I always go down to the least common denominator. Underneath all of that is trying to control. And the reason why we want people doing what we want them to do, the reason why we want people to think that this holiday is just is important to me, so it should be important to you. Underlining all things about control. Now, see, if your family's able to, yeah, okay, I'll see you this year, I won't see you this year. Now, let's get to the other holidays. The Christmas holidays. oh my gosh, now we're even piling on the obligations of buying gifts, the obligations of shopping, the obligations of acknowledging, the obligations of Merry Christmas. Now listen, again, I'm not a Scrooge. I'm not one to not say. I just want you to recognize what's underneath all of this stuff. Yes, if you feel inspired to purchase something special for someone, or is it an obligation? There's a big difference. I'll never forget being obligated to buy certain gifts for adults. I'm not talking about for children. I'm talking about obligated to buy gifts for adults. Don't tell me that isn't a pain. Don't tell me that you would love to just, you know what, this year I just don't want to go shopping. I mean, am I off here? Am I, my dear audience? So when you get the sense of obligation, when you get the sense that, oh, somebody else is going to be disappointed, all of that underline, all of that dirties up the water, meaning, or muddies up the water. What's the solution? It took me, I would say at least 10 years, maybe even longer, to get to the point where I'm going to celebrate every day as if it were Christmas, Thanksgiving. It doesn't matter. You know what started it? It started it when my son moved to New York and I was in California. And so we did not see each other throughout the holidays. But when we did, it might have been February, it might have been April, it might have been May, and that's when we started celebrating the holidays in May. We celebrated Christmas in May. So when I talk about celebrating holidays, it starts with a breaking up of everything has to be done on the day that everybody else does it. The celebration has to be on the same day. So it's a very slow process of letting go. At least it was a slow process for me. I mean, you might just be ready to jump off this holiday obligation train tomorrow. But it started with a very, very slow, because remember, I was indoctrinated in big time. I mean, those Christmases when I was younger were huge, with the Santa Claus and the you know, you go to sleep and now all of a sudden there's gifts. I believed in Santa Claus. Oh, don't tell anybody. Till I was, 10 years old. I was old. I'll never forget. I was so upset when what do you mean there's no Santa Claus? Somebody at my grammar school told me. I couldn't believe it. Ruined my whole life. Ruined my whole thing, my whole day. And so that holiday thing, attachment, was really deep. And it wasn't until I started celebrating holidays on the days that were not the days that were, quote unquote, supposed to be the days for holidays, that I started letting go of that grip, of that obligation, of that, oh, I have to do it, I have to feel a certain way. Last year was the first time in my life that I turned my phone off on my birthday. The phone was off. I'm used to getting calls, acknowledged, birthday, but I was determined not to have any attachments to a holiday, to a day, having obligations. Again, why? Because my number one priority, my number one commitment is to be at peace. And I cannot be at peace if I'm expecting phone calls and having attachments to a birthday. Now, I can celebrate my birthday any way I want, with or without. I could even stay in the house all day. The celebration has nothing to do with the day. The celebration has something to do, in other words, the day with the label on it. Birthday, holiday, Christmas, New Year's Eve. The day has nothing to do with the label. And it's really getting rid of that label of, okay, this is this particular day, so now I have to behave in this particular way. Same thing with New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, staying up, going out to a party, getting dressed up, all of that stuff, all of the obligations, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying to let go or not to do them, but I would like you just to be a little bit more aware of, and ask the questions, is it an attachment? Is it an expectation? Is it an obligation? Is it a programming? Is it really does it balance and does it settle my soul? Does it keep me balanced? That's the real question. Valentine's Day was one of my favorites. I remember I was shopping on a Valentine's Day, and I remember seeing some men at the last minute purchase Valentine's gifts for their girlfriends, wives, balloons. They were getting balloons, candy, etc. It was as if these guys knew that they had to bring something home or there would be hell to pay. And I remember there was a time in my life when I was with somebody, significant other, boyfriend, husband. I'm telling you, if these people didn't plan a lunch or a dinner or some kind of, I would be upset and there would be hell to pay. I remember yelling and getting upset with one of my boyfriends and saying, "You ruined Valentine's Day for me." So what I want to share more than anything too is whatever you think is important may not be important to somebody else. And these holidays have man-made programming attached expectations to them. And that's all I want to do with this show, is to make you aware that there is another way of experiencing a holiday. There's another way of being. This thing about being depressed and stressed is because of the programming. Oh, it's not supposed to be alone. I don't have anybody. I'm by myself. When you get to a place where being with yourself, being with self, is very fulfilling, is not only very fulfilling, it is fulfilling. And you are solid and rooted, because you know what? You're never alone. You always have that connection. You always have the ability to have a communication. You always have that ability. The universe never leaves you. You're never alone. Can you feel that connection? When you practice wanting, when you practice, a lot of people make their lists, what they want, their goals. But what about the wanting and the desiring and the feeling of feeling whole by yourself, with yourself, and the universe? How about that? When you get to that place, and I'm not saying that I'm there all the time, but when you get to a place where you feel satisfied with self and with your life, there is no holiday that's going to bring you up or down. There's no holiday that's going to make you feel fuller or not, every day. Celebrate every day. And when you celebrate every day, the program man-made holidays, the ones that require certain rules and certain types of behaviors, aren't going to depress you, aren't going to stress you, aren't going to give you any kind of anxiety, nothing. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com, RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. I've got my YouTube channel. It's listed on the show page. Also, my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be found on Amazon and Lulu. Second book, Program for Unhappiness, will be out sometime in 2019. And until next time, my dear audience, I just want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving, you're always changing, you're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Have a conscious week. Have a conscious week. Listen, you've been listening to Reality Spirituality. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now.